Well, guys, I think it's probably a bad live stream if I do it with ice in my mouth. Sorry. What's up, everybody? Been a little bit since I've done a live stream. Figured I would hop on tonight. Had some time and actually just finished a video that's going to come out tomorrow, so I'm excited to get that out. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute, because what I'm doing is I'm actually launching I'm launching a brand new video series that will probably take me another 5 years to finish. I'll explain it a little bit here later, but it's going to be something that goes together with thegreatblight.com. And I'm going to be working with some other creators on it. So I'm kind of excited about that. So I'll mention that the first of these is going to come out later or tomorrow, and I'll talk about that. So I see Unraveling the Pattern talking about hijacking my comments, and he's totally able to do that. He has a big video coming out tomorrow. And if you guys are not familiar with Unraveling the Pattern, Lauren makes probably the highest quality Wheel of Time content on the internets. Best computer graphics, best researched. He's the best. And he and I are actually working on something which I'm pretty excited for you all to see. So if you have not checked out Unraveling the Patterns YouTube channel, make sure to do that. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Can I link? I know that other people can't link things in my chat because I think it automatically calls them spam. But I'm going to see if I can link something in my own chat. I'm going to link his page here on... here we go. Let's try this. All right. Can you guys see the link that I just put in the chat? I don't know if it blocks my links or not. But there you go. If you want to follow Unraveling the Pattern, you can click that link that I just put in there, and that will take you to his page. You can subscribe to his channel, all of that. So if you guys have not, if you're just joining us here, go ahead and hit the like button if you don't mind. Again, YouTube doesn't like live streams very much, so they are you have to like them for them to get promoted. So just an FYI, which is interesting because I know some of you who were in the Discord server yesterday. I was doing some experimenting, and I will probably be doing quite a bit with Twitch here in the near future. I've been kind of setting some stuff up, and there was some hilarious experimenting with Twitch going on yesterday where we couldn't get the sound to work. But what I will probably be doing is a couple things. I'm going to do... I won't call it like the Dusty Wheel because nobody is like the Dusty Wheel. You can't pull that off. But I would call it maybe a sort of informal talk show type thing where we either play games or I just bring either other creators on or even just fans on, and people can kind of watch the stream. I've got some things planned for that. I'll probably be doing that once or twice a week on kind of a regular basis. And I will likely be doing that on Twitch. So for those of you who are not familiar with Twitch, we'll probably get going with that. But anyways, so guys, let me, as people are kind of joining here and hitting the like button, I guess let me first of all promote a few things, and then we'll get into talking about what I wanted to talk about, because promotion is what this is all about, right? First of all, if you have not signed up to be a member on thegreatblight.com, the new website, what are you doing? You're all crazy. You got to get signed up for that. So head there and sign up. There is actually a contest that I'm running that actually ends tomorrow, I think. So if you get signed up for that, I'm going to select 2 people that are signed up for the website that are logged in as members, and they're going to get a $25 gift card to shopwheelofTime.com. So just make sure to get there and subscribe, or sign up for it. Basically, that's what you have to do. And of course, we're adding some stuff. So along that note, I actually do want to talk about this now. So I've got a video that's going to come out tomorrow. Patrons will be able to see it go up tonight, a little later. But everybody else will get to see it tomorrow later in the day. But I'm going to be releasing the first in a very, 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 very long series of videos that I'm going to be doing basically setting up what we're going to do is in conjunction with thegreatblight.com. So as part of the wiki, we're going to do chapter by chapter entries for the various books of the Wheel of Time. So each chapter, what was in it, kind of recap, some deep dive stuff. We're going to have 2 sections to that. It's like a spoiler-free recap that somebody that, like, for instance, if I just read the prologue to to Eye of the World, and I'm not sure what happened, I can go back and watch this spoiler-free for the later in the series, but I can watch this recap of what I just read with some visuals. So I'm incorporating the maps that we've been making. I made some new maps, as a matter of fact, some that don't exist anywhere as far as I know. And so you'll be able to see that visually. And then the second part of the video, where it gets into a spoiler section, is going to be real deep dives into the chapters, like Easter eggs, foreshadowing, little small tidbits that show up down the road. And that section is designed for people that are rereading the series. So if you're getting in and you're just rereading it, you'll be able to find all the little foreshadowing and all the little things that are just in there that are really cool. So I think it's pretty exciting. So in any case, it's the first one of those. The prologue is going to come out tomorrow. I'll have the other prologue, Ravens, will come out shortly after that, and then we'll just be progressing through Eye of the World. My plan is to have Eye of the World completely finished and probably The Great Hunt finished before the show comes out. So that's kind of the plan here. And then as people are getting into the series, they'll have something to follow along with, which I think is fairly exciting. I actually like the quality and the depth that we're able to go into, and I'm going to be incorporating other content creators into that'll be part doing that, the same thing. So you'll see how it all works, but I'm excited about it. Again, patrons should be able to see that tonight. Jake Jones, thank you so much for the donation, man. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to be on Twitch once I can get some stuff figured out with it. I think we'll have some fun with it. So, yes. So, any case, oh goodness. Of course, I'm on the wrong Wi-Fi. That's why. Anyways, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Okay, so if you're just joining us, again, hit the like button. That helps us out. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We talk Wheel of Time all the time. So, in any case, what I wanted to hit on, because there's been some news that's come out that I haven't felt like is enough for me to make my full news videos where I go deep diving into stuff. I kind of stick to doing maybe 1 or 2 maximum of those a month anymore. So I wanted to mention, first of all, the release of the little trailer where we got to see the wine spring in and kind of figure out what you guys felt about that. Like, how you thought. I'm sorry, I'm looking at your audio skip. So I'm hoping you guys can all hear this okay. Any case. But so we saw the release of the wine spring in. Which I got pretty giddy. I thought that was pretty damn cool. And I love that picture. I'm looking forward to do a little bit of a dive into that as soon as we get some more news. Like I said, I don't like to make little videos like that on the news, but I have been most looking forward to set design, music, and then costume design. Those are the things that I'm excited about. And so it was crazy to actually see that. And I think it also means that we are one step closer to a trailer, which I am excited about. So that could be kind of cool. The other big news, and I don't know what to make of this. I don't know if Narg is watching right now, but Narg released a little tidbit where he predicted I think early summer of 2021 release for the show. And then he predicted it would drop 3 episodes and then the rest of the 5, weekly, which I do see Amazon doing. They just did that with The Boys. So I think that we're going to get kind of the hybrid weekly or, the dump release and then the hybrid weekly release afterwards. Like, I think that's kind of probably what we'll get, which I think is a successful model. I would settle for that. I would be okay. I would not be okay with it all dropping at once, but we've talked about that before. So I'm interested to see, first of all, what you guys think of that news. when you think the show is going to launch, considering they still have 2 episodes still to film, and they're just now starting back up. So curious to see what you thought about that. Let me hit on some of the comments here because I'm notoriously awful at seeing these. So I was hoping it would look 3 times larger as closer to the book description. So Yilang, I see that, that, it doesn't look huge in that picture, but then again, we have a very blurry view of it, and it was from far away. Just judging by the sets, I have a feeling that we're going to be blown away by the way the sets are put together. It's just there's a lot of hype around set design, and they typically would not hype set design if it wasn't really, really good. So I'm hoping for the better on that. I see late spring 2021 release. It's possible for a late spring. I think that would be pushing it. I see some of you saying that. I feel like they want to lead in with it. I think it's either going to be early summer, or I think it makes sense to do it in the fall. I really don't want it to be in the middle of the summer. That's just my 2 cents. But because people are not as focused and not in school and not I really think they need to take the Game of Thrones route with it, in terms of when they put the series, rather than smack dab in the middle of the summer. I just feel like that would be a bad place. So yeah, spring 2021 would be nice, and I think there is hope for that because I think they've been doing a lot of the post-production work already. So I think they put together some special effects. I think they put together, again, the post-production, I should say. I think that they've got a lot of it done, except they have a couple episodes left. And I know that special effects have been being worked on. So I do think that at the end of the day, it's possible to see it in the spring. So I see a lot of you saying, I hope for spring 2021. I prefer a weekly launch. Andrew says that. I agree. And I think the first episode will air 3rd or 4th week of November 2021. So that's a long way off. I certainly think there's a possibility of that. I think, honestly, I think I would be surprised if it was that late. They would be deliberately holding on to it for it to be that late of a launch, in my opinion, because I do think they've got most of the post-production done. That's what they've been doing all year while they haven't been able to film. They've been focusing on that. So, and they've only got 2 episodes to film, so let's call that maximum a month. I don't think it'll take that long, but let's say they have a month of shooting left to do for the first season. I think they're going to I think it makes sense to do a spring or early summer release, because I think they also want to be in production on season 2. I don't think they want to wait. So I can see that. Now, the one thing that I think Amazon will want to do, and I'm hoping that they do this, if you're familiar with the way Amazon promotes their series, they spend a lot of money on promotions. So they'll put them in, well, I was going to say they'll put them in movie theaters, but I don't think many people are going to movie theaters right now, just judging on the box office. But, they'll put movie trailers. They'll put, they'll put stuff out on YouTube. They'll put stuff out on regular television. Like Amazon really promotes their stuff. Because again, if they're going to put 110 million plus into this show, they're also going to throw money at it to budget it. Like you don't spend 100 million on a show and then not promote it, which I'm excited for. That means lots of trailers, lots of people getting hyped, lots of buzz, and we all need to help create that buzz. Jake Jones again, thanks, my man. Doubling up because I love your stuff. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the donation. You rock. And again, if you're just joining us, go ahead and hit the like button on the video. It helps YouTube promote live streams because they don't really like them. So if you don't mind hitting like, that would be awesome. So right now we're talking Wheel of Time television show. And some of the news that has come out. So we're talking about release times, when that comes out. And I see, I see some of you talking about November 2021, like they push their stuff out pretty fast. Amazon, I don't want to say Amazon pushes their stuff out immediately because they have done that on some shows and then they've also waited before. So I think they want to do it whenever it makes the most sense. But So I have another random question for you guys that I am very interested to hear the answer to. Okay. Before I go there, I see some of you answering how spoiler friendly is this stream. I would be very, very careful watching the stream about spoilers. I tend to kind of assume most of you watching me are at this point on live streams. When we're talking about the show, it's going to be fairly spoiler free, other than the first season or two. When we start getting into talking about other things, which we will here in a moment, I would say that's going to go fairly spoiler heavy. So I will let everybody know when we're going to switch topics of conversation. Thank you, Rune. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You like my dusty wheel mug, by the way? Nae'Blis, instead of a beard, wear a goatee. I think I would look horrible with a goatee, although my beard needs trimmed right now pretty bad. So, okay. But I do want to move off the topic of the television show for just a minute. I want to get into talking about a question that one of my patrons, one of my top tier patrons, has posed a video idea to me. And I have some thoughts of it on my own, but I want to get your input on this. Kind of a quick fan poll. So let me set the question up so you guys can all get your thinking caps on and talk about this with me. And this will be spoiler heavy, guys. So at this point, if you are like someone who's not really finished the series, be careful. Okay. But so here's the question. In the Wheel of Time universe, right? Like, we see the one power used for lots of pretty cool things that get created, right? Like in A Memory of Light. So major spoilers for A Memory of Light here. We are like going from like 0 to 90 here in terms of spoilers. But so spoilers for A Memory of Light. But what they start to use traveling for more than just traveling and more for just killing things, but they use it for reconnaissance, right? Like they open a gateway and look down on a battlefield, right? So there starts to be really cool uses for the one power. Here's the question. What are some unused, what are some ideas that you guys have for uses of the one power that we never actually see? Like, what do you think it could be used for that we don't get to see it used for, if that makes any sense? Like, what do you think that's going to look like? Like, what are some really cool things that could have been done potentially with channeling that weren't done? So I know that may be a big question, but I am really, really interested in this topic, and I have a few ideas. I don't want to share mine because that will be a video topic. But what are some ideas you guys have? So I see somebody saying gateways. Ooh. I'm actually going to write a lot of these down because I like. Oops. So I want to read through some of these. Gateways through time. Now that is badass. Now I wonder if gateways could go through time. I mean, like, what are the metaphysics of the universe and such that, like, I know that you can open a gateway into the world of dreams, right? So, like, technically, like, the portal worlds, like, is time a constant that you can travel through? Like, I think that would be kind of cool. I see firefighting. Oh, you guys got some damn good ideas here. Construction. I mean, I know that it is used for construction. So, like, we know that. I see Shantane says the one power could have been used for art and music. I think that's pretty cool. I wonder, like, how would you use that? I wonder if people in the Age of Legends did use it for art and music. Okay. Aes Sedai actually helping non-channelers for once. Hey, Ipa, what do you think of Aes Sedai? Can't tell. I don't think they have toilet paper in the Wheel of Time world, so maybe Aes Sedai used the power for that. Well, okay. So we did have the whiteboard that not long ago talking about Aes Sedai bale firing their their excrement, and what ramifications that might have on the world if you bale-fired it. So I wonder. Yeah, like I think of a lot of. I'll tell you where my head goes when we start thinking about what the power could be used for. I start thinking of like bending in Avatar, like air bending, water bending, like different ways of maybe use like how airbenders use air to kind of propel things. But then again, I said I technically can't use that, right? So what could they be used for? Gateways to cut trees. That's interesting. Using air for deep sea exploring. Okay, Beth, that is an awesome one. I love that deep sea. I wonder if you like how much. So here's the thing I wonder. Like if I made a shield of air, let's call it that, right? Does it take effort if that shield is bombarded? So if I'm under the ocean with millions of tons of water above me, right? Does the air hold up against that? That's a great question. I wonder. Gateways for conference calls. So Pot on Fame, they actually kind of do use gateways for conference calls. In the last battle, Tuon and Egwene talked through a gateway. Receding hairline. I mean, that would have helped back in the day. Avienda went through time with a gateway. Explain that, Lauren, from Unraveling the Pattern. What do you mean they went through time in a gateway? Maybe I'm not remembering that. Plumbing, language translation. Interesting, Jennifer. Language, huh? I wonder how would the power be used for language translation? Like, I wonder how that might work. I wanted to see the ways fixed. I wonder how the ways could be fixed. Like, I'm sure there has to be an in-world way for that to happen. I could see the power being used for stained glass windows that are single pane with no need for leaded mosaic. Interesting. So you're like power wrought glass. You guys got some crazy good ideas. These were none like the ones I had thought. The stronger the channeler, the deeper you can go. That's what she said. Making objects of the power was pretty underutilized. Yeah, and it happened, but it certainly didn't happen until later on. Can germs pass through a gateway? I would imagine they could. They're living objects, right? They're not shadow spawn. Using the power for space travel. So, yeah, Robert Jordan said in a couple interviews that Aes Sedai could travel. Like, I think specifically the one I'm referring to, he was asked if gateways could be made to travel to, like, the moon. And he said that they could. Like, a full circle could travel, like, to another planet in the solar system. So, like, there was certainly an implication that people could leave the Earth and did leave the Earth. So I wonder if you could... Now, here's a question, right? If I'm in space, can I create... Obviously, you couldn't create a shield of air, or could you, right? There's no air there. So, like, if there was no atmosphere, if I was standing on the moon, could I make a shield of air that held in oxygen, which is interesting? Or could I open a gateway? I mean, obviously, Andral opens a gateway into the middle of a volcano, right? Could you open a gateway into the middle of the sun? And then what would that do if you did that? Like, I wonder. Or into the core of the Earth or something crazy. Okay. There's a theory about Avienda getting the gateway weave wrong and the sun is different on the other side. Ooh, I have not read that theory. I need to see that one. I definitely need to see that. And it could just be an error on somebody's part, but I would love to see that. With a full circle, Andral could go anywhere, and I think that's pretty... I mean, Andral is the definition of a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu in terms of what he can do, but is there a distance limit on gateways? Yeah. Robert Jordan said that the further the distance, the stronger the channel it would require. Can you open a gateway into a black hole? See, all of these are definitely profound. The element of air is not literally air, it's just the element that's most closely tied to gases. So like what I'm saying is if like I weave a strand of the one power with air, does that actually create a barrier of air, or is it just a power barrier? That makes sense. So like if there was no air, would it create a barrier? That's the question. So if you open the gateway to the core of the sun, the earth would collapse. I would agree too. I think the gravitational pull would be a little too much. So that might kill everybody. I'm wondering. Or if you open a gateway into space, wouldn't the vacuum suck you right through the gateway? It might if you were close to it, I would assume. These are all profound questions, right? That, you know, using the power. You could make air from no air. Rand turned water into air. I know there's air in water, but you can use the weave you can create. They create fire. But I wonder if you create fire, though, by creating, you create friction or something like that. Like, I wonder if that's part of it. So I don't know. I'm really not sure there. The dark one is a black hole. That's interesting. How long does the gateway last? Until the weave unravels? My guess? I don't know. You guys are really good at this. I was not expecting some of these answers. So again, if you're just joining us, the question that we posed was this. There's a lot of creative uses, and this is spoiler heavy right now, so we are talking fairly major spoilers for the whole series. But what creative uses of the one power did we not get to see that would have been really cool to see? I think that's a great topic to talk about. Can any channeler conceive the real distances between stars and planets? So, like, I wonder, because, like, if you think about it, this is really a Renaissance era. Like, if the Wheel of Time is really set in a pre-gunpowder Renaissance era civilization. Like, so you have the level of science that's basically at the level of the Renaissance era, but without gunpowder up until the very end. But then you add in a magic element. So that's basically how it's set up. And so I wonder what the conceptions of space and planets are. Like, there are obviously rumors of going to the moon, right? Like, they have the, you know, there are stories about people landing on the moon that they think are just myths or old tales. But, like, I wonder, like, what their conceptions of distance, what their conceptions of the universe. We really never get into that, at least a whole lot. So, fire suppression system, ter'angreals. I would guarantee that those things existed. Power armor that anyone can use. So actually, that does exist. It's not mentioned very strongly, but both Nynaeve and Cadsuane have a ter'angreal on them that creates a physical armor. So they would not be able to be hit with weapons. It's one of the many ter'angreal that they kind of wear around themselves and a paralysis net. It's very casually mentioned and not made a big deal, but they have it. So, which is, I think, partially the reason, like, Cadsuane has all these ter'angreal all over her that I think makes her a little bit more bold than otherwise, because she's got a ter'angreal that kind of functions the same way Matt's does, that unravels weaves. She's got one that's a well. She's got one that detects male channelers. She's got one that protects her with a shield. So I think she's a little bit more bold because of the paralysis net. Like, so they have a bunch of armor to them. So is channeling faster than light? Real physics in a fantasy discussion. See, it's interesting. And if you know anything about Robert Jordan, he was a physicist. So a lot of this stuff is like I would say the magic system of the Wheel of Time ended fairly scientific, at least in the sense that it was a very strong, hard magic system. That's what I would say. Use the power to form water lenses to create a telescope. That's an interesting idea. Go Gadget Cadsuane. Yes. Quantum tunneling. See, now we're getting there. Creating gateways to, like, you know, it's funny. Daniel did this early on in his channel. Daniel Green did all of these versus videos. I don't know if you guys remember this. He would take, like, a character, and then they would, like, I wonder, like, and he would, like, do two characters and just kind of, like, have them fight each other or something, like what would happen. I'm curious, like, how you think like Rand would fare against like various like take like the Green Lantern or something, like somebody that's like straight up from a or one of the Avengers. Like you like I wonder how Rand does, or how Perrin does, or how Matt does, or Egwene, or Moradin, or anyone. Like who beats them? Rand definitely beats Jaime Lannister. I don't see how that doesn't happen in any realm, in any realm, unless it's because I think that was the big one. Rand. See, I don't think Rand is better than everyone. Like, put Rand against Superman. Some like Superman moves too fast for Rand to even channel, right? Like, I think if Rand had time to prepare, like in terms of like I like Wheel of Time channelers are so overpowered if they've got time, right? Like if they could prepare themselves, and but they can only weave as fast as they can weave. So, and yeah, George R. R. Martin did write that short story pitting Rand against Jaime Lannister, which to me is a joke. The only way that Jaime beats Rand, let's say that you'll give Jaime being a better fighter with a sword fighter than Jaime. Let's give him that, even though I think that's debatable. Because Rand at the time when he's at his peak is among the best sword fighters alive. Okay, I mean he's defeating 5 people at once. He also uses a different style. So in Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister fights. It's a two-handed broadsword style. In the Wheel of Time, it's still two-handed swords, but it's katana. It's a little bit more like the swords used in the Wheel of Time are curved blades. They're again, think of like a katana. That's like a Japanese type style sword. And they're a little faster and a little more fluid movements. But then you have Rand, like Rand can channel the shit out of Jaime. I just don't. That's dumb. Okay, so Wonder Woman would beat Rand too. I mean, I think some of again, it depends on the effectiveness of Balefire or things like that. Obviously, if Rand could get Balefire off on Superman, like that should kill him or remove him from the pattern. But Superman, Wonder Woman, too fast technically for somebody. Like, so I wonder. The Aiel versus Dothraki was a good episode. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Aiel would wipe the floor with the Dothraki, in my opinion. Having read both series, I think the Aiel beat the hell out of the Dothraki. The Dothraki are not, in my opinion, no. There's just no chance. I don't think there's any way. Because again, the Aiel also have channelers, and they're a warrior society. I don't think that one. I think that's a beatdown. So in any case, Rand has adopted skill from Lews Therin, who trained for centuries, which makes him better than most mortal. Again, yeah, Rand had advantages there. I don't think that's a fair fight. You know what is an interesting fight is if you said Perrin and Rand had to kill each other, right? And they both knew it. Who do you think would ultimately win? Because obviously the easy answer there sounds like, well, Rand would kill him. But like, what? I mean, couldn't Perrin just pop out of nowhere? Like, could he get the jump on him, right? Like, that's always an interesting one. So I don't know. I think obviously Rand would win, but now are we talking the Fremen versus the Aiel? That's again. I think. I mean, obviously the Fremen have different technology. That's a little different one, but yeah. Rand versus Matt versus Perrin would probably break the universe. I mean, Perrin, I think, easily wins over Matt, maybe, unless Matt's luck. I mean, I don't know. Matt's luck is like the ultimate get out of whatever. I mean, even if Perrin gets the jump on him, right? Like, I don't know. That's an interesting one. A Darkhound versus a Direwolf? No doubt a Darkhound wins there. Darkhounds are crazy. But yeah, so interesting thoughts, guys. These are definitely some interesting places to take this. We've never really talked about before. With who would win? Like, who do you think would win in a fight between Nynaeve and Nynaeve is technically stronger, but I think Egwene would kick her ass. Just my 2 cents. Greyman versus Darth Vader. Darth Vader wins there, easy. Here's a good one: the Emperor from Star Wars versus Rand, or the Emperor versus Moradin. I would like to see that one. Should I do all of these versus battles? Should I do videos? I think that would be an interesting one. Just rank Wheel of Time characters versus other people. Maybe I'll make one at some point, because it's an interesting one. Perrin versus Thor. I think Thor. I don't see how Perrin can even hurt Thor, to be honest with you. Thor is so OP. I don't think Thor, even with his axe, could even break Thor's skin. So I don't think there's a chance there. Palpatine and Moradin would just team up. I don't know. Moradin is not about the world domination. Moradin's about ending it. Palpatine just wants to rule everything. So I don't know if they would. Maybe I will make some of these versus videos just for you guys to kind of sink your teeth into, if you all want me to do them. If you want me to make versus videos, say yes in the chat. If you think I should not do that because it's a waste of time, say no. Interesting poll here, because I definitely could do these. I have a lot of stupid pop culture knowledge outside of the Wheel of Time. I don't think I would do tons of these because I think they're more kind of yes, but also no. So I think the answer here is yes for most of you. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. We'll see if people like them. I'm not going to stray from the Wheel of Time, so I'm not going to be doing like people not from the Wheel of Time versus people not from the Wheel of Time. Like, I don't have any interest in that. We're going to keep it Wheel of Time centric, but yeah, we'll do some lighthearted. I'll pick some things that I think would be good battles. Like, I'm not going to do Rand versus Ant-Man or something like that. Like, I want to do, if I do them, I'm going to pick people that I think are fairly evenly matched. So I have to find some people that I think Rand would be easily matched with. Like maybe Rand versus Goku or something. So that's crazy. Kids in bed. Just so I'm glad. Hey, glad you guys are hopping on. I got some crap from some people for not doing these streams late enough. People say that I need to do them later so that their kids can be in bed and they can hop on. So hey, I'll just keep going here. So let's talk about this for a second, guys. Real quick, first of all, if you're just joining us, like the video. It'll help us promote things. Also, make sure to join thegreatblight.com. Head to www.thegreatblight.com and then sign up. If you do that, you're going to be entered in the contest to win one of the two $25 gift cards to shopwheeloftime.com, which we will, I think, be adding some more merch to here soon. Chansonnet has some badass looking shirts that we will probably be adding there, which I think are going to be pretty cool. Guys, I'm excited for a lot of the stuff that's up and coming that I think we're going to get to at some point. For those of you who are, like, I will say this: if you have not checked out thegreatblight.com, know that there's a lot more coming there. One of the things that's going to help us get there faster, one of the goals that I have, and you can see this on Patreon, is I want to get, I'm aiming to get enough support that I can bring on 2 folks to be part-time that'll help, be paid, to actually help with content, to help with managing and growing the website, because it is a pretty daunting task. And the reason that a lot of stuff moves so slowly is we have tons of people that are volunteering, which is great. But I can't ask volunteers to do everything. And I really would like to be able to support some folks. And so, anything that you all can do, if you are willing to support, check out the Patreon. I am running a promo that I think ends today too. There, where you can get $10 off your purchase at shopwheeloftime.com by joining the $10 tier or higher. So if you are willing or able to support, obviously that's awesome. If you're not, that's also okay. Stephen Hart, if Mistborn Screenplay is a show, would you cover it? it depends on when. Okay, so I'll say that it's not. I love Brandon Sanderson. I love Mistborn. If it were now, I would not. And the reason for that is I want to stick to Wheel of Time just because I have a list that's a million pages long of things I want to do Wheel of Time. And just to think of adding another set of things to get to would just be too much, I think. So, yeah, I think I would probably not do it right now. Now, if it's 7, 8 years from now, maybe, maybe I would because I love Brandon Sanderson. That'd be a great continuation for the channel if Wheel of Time is winding down as a show at that point. We'll see. Braid beats come over. I think Nae'Blis versus Donald Trump. I'm going to take Nae'Blis in that one. She's a channeler. He is a mere mortal. So I'm going to take her out there. Uno versus my racist grandma. That's funny. Jennifer Wood, as always, you are freaking awesome. If you guys don't know Jennifer, she's one of my favorite people. She's been a big supporter of the channel and the website for a long time. So I appreciate you, Jennifer. You're the best. You really are. Thank you so much for what you do and helping, and thank you for enjoying content and all of that. So, guys, again, appreciate the support. Thank you for everybody that does that. But yeah, I see a couple people, and I let me ask you some poll questions here real quick as we're kind of talking about some of this stuff. We are talking about thegreatblight.com, right? I would love to see if you guys, first of all, if any of you want to help with the wiki, we've had a huge influx of new wiki articles and people writing stuff for the wiki that's going to be on there. I'm really excited about because the more of that goes on there, the more I think the website's getting used. Like right now, we're paying for what's called SEO, if you're familiar with that. So we're paying for the show to be, or the website, I should say, to be promoted online to people that maybe don't watch YouTube videos or don't know about it. And the purpose of that is to get all of the content creators featured. So the more people that we have seeing the website and driving traffic to the website, the more creators like Unraveling the Pattern, who you've seen in the chat here, or The Gleeman in the chat here, Badger Reborn, who's in the chat here. The more folks like that get promoted by the algorithms, get new fans, get supported themselves, and all of that is going to be pretty fun. So the more that you guys can subscribe to that, I think what we're going to be doing here in the near future is I'm going to be making a weekly newsletter to highlight various news articles, creators. Like I'm going to write that, and it should go out each week to everybody that is subscribed. It'll be kind of like you'll get it and you'll just kind of read through the news. That's the idea. So that should be really, really fun. So for those of you that feel like you're always behind on the news about what's going on and little tidbits and content, so, I see the Wheel Reads is in here too. So Alan and the Wheel Reads podcast is here. There's a lot of other creators that are on the site and are featured. And again, we want to help drive content that way and people that way, because the more folks, the more all of us get exposure, the more everybody else gets exposure, if that makes sense. So we want to use the platforms that we built to kind of get there. So any case, we'll do a newsletter. That's going to be on my list of many things, where also what I can do is highlight some smaller creators with little links to stuff in the newsletter. So that should be fun as well. How many of you guys are, type yes in the chat if you are signed up for thegreatblight.com right now. So type yes if you are already signed up and you have your membership. Ooh, all of you, lots and lots of yeses. I love that. If you are not a yes, make sure that you become a yes. Get signed up. Do you have any suggestions for anyone that wants to become a content creator? That's a great question, Blair. So as I see these yeses coming in, this is a topic that I've talked about, and maybe I'll make a video about this at some point. That's kind of a one-off video that's maybe not necessarily about the Wheel of Time directly, but like what's involved in becoming a content creator and what are some things that you should consider. The easy answer to that question is if you enjoy making content or you think you have something to add to the discussion, then make the content, okay? The biggest thing that holds people back from that is they feel like they need to go out and invest in a $3,000 camera or something stupid, or a $200, $300 mic, or hey, if I don't have lighting, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how to edit. And like, whether that's YouTube or if you want to start a podcast, if you don't feel like you have the right equipment, like if you go back and watch my early videos or you watch Daniel Green's early videos, production quality is god awful, especially on mine. Like I'll say it, they're bad. But that's okay. I still grew. And the key is making content. Now, I also started making content with Wheel of Time very early on. Like there really wasn't anyone else on YouTube other than Daniel, right? So it was not a crowded space at that point. And so I kind of built a following, and then a lot of other people started to make content as well. So what I would say now is this, to anybody that wants to be like, the way I would probably break it down is, what are your goals? Are your goals to monetize it and get big, or are your goals just to talk and have a couple people that want to listen? Both of those things are fine. Like you should never hesitate about wanting to monetize videos. I was talking about this with some other creators. Guys, if you don't know this, but for most of you that were in college, like most of my video scripts that I write out are between 8 and 14 pages, okay? So think about writing an 8 to 14 page paper 2 times a week. For some people, it's more than that, right? So think through that, and then that's just the writing and research side. So, and then there's the production and marketing and all of that. So when people want to monetize their content, or if you have people that are asking for financial support and you feel like, I can't believe they're asking for support, like understand that it takes a lot of time to make quality content. And I'm not saying that for me, I'm saying that for all of the different creators out there about how much that takes to do well. That's not to scare anybody off. It's more so to say, like, if you do have the goal of wanting to build a larger channel and you want to be able to monetize your content and you want to be able to grow that, you need to think through that. Like, what can you add to the conversation that somebody else isn't doing? Or what can you do that somebody else is doing, but that you can do better? Okay. I'll give you a great example of it because he's here in the chat. Unraveling the Pattern. So Lauren with Unraveling the Pattern outdoes all of us with videograph. Like I can't touch anything he does with video graphics and special effects. And his stuff is crazy good. And so, obviously the key for him is to get more and more of it out, but everything that he releases is incredibly high quality. Okay. And incredibly deep and incredibly well researched. And it's awesome stuff. So again, if you haven't followed his channel, you need to do that. But it's great. But now there are other YouTube channels that are coming out that are cooking related, right? Like Malcure Talks is a cooking related YouTube channel with some other content as well. You've got the Gleeman, who I see here in the chat. Like you've got, you've got people that are making shorts that are like little nugget videos that talk about lore. You've got people that do deeply researched things. You've got people that do opinionated, like nuanced social issues things like Lesbian Nerdy or Call Me Nakomi. Like there's a lot of quality creators out there. And what I would say is this: find out what you find interesting that you can do well. And don't worry about like what well is for you now will improve. Like I am getting better at what I do every day I do it. And my hope is that 6 months from now, I look back on the videos that I'm making now and think, wow, that stuff is so bad. That's what I'm hoping, because that means I've improved that much by then. Okay, so like that would be my advice. I know that's kind of long-winded, but if you are wanting to be a creator, like my biggest thing to say to you would be create. Just do something. Start making it. You can find out what you're good at, what people like. I will never be directly funny or entertaining in the same way that Recapa Sadai and Wheel Talk are, right? Like that's not my personality. I'm a very dry, sarcastic troll. That's why I have a whiteboard that I put smartass comments on. But I'm not naturally funny. Like, you're not going to hear me and go, man, he's so entertaining. I'm a 6'6" bald guy with a beard that is a little overly nerdy about a Wheel of Time series. You may have a niche that is really, really good, and I would say pursue it. So, Travis, I appreciate the donation, man. Finished A Memory of Light an hour ago. Wow. Seriously, post-series depression for something that's been a part of my life for almost a year. Might start a reread immediately. You know what the best way to get over finishing The Wheel of Time is? Starting it over. It is the most rereadable series of all time. I seriously, that's why you hear, like, I can't think of another book series where you hear people say, yeah, I've read it 30 plus times. Let's get a yes in the chat, okay, if you have read the series more than 5 times. So if you have read the series, Wheel of Time, end to end, more than 5 times, put yes in the chat. I want to see how many people say yes. Because this, I think, blows people away, because I don't think that this is real for anybody. Okay, like, I don't think that there's any other series that commands this number of rereads out of people. Okay, and it's crazy, like, that it does that, right? So, and those of you that haven't, I'm sure will. Like, it's one of those things you can keep rereading and keep finding stuff. So, Travis, what I will say, stay tuned for the video that I'm releasing tomorrow, because that's the beginning of a reread. Like, I'm going to actually have a video, and hopefully when they're all done, guys, you'll be able to sit down one afternoon and spam and just get a recap of a whole book by watching these videos one after another, after another, after another. That you'll be able to get not only the plot synopsis, but you'll also be able to get, like, the what do you call it? The details, the foreshadowing, the Easter eggs that are in there, like all the little fun stuff that you might miss on a reread, we're going to put in there. So I can't wait for that to get out. It's really, really fun. Wolf Bear, thank you. Mr. Bliss, thank you for being a great creator. I appreciate that you think I'm great. I think that's debatable sometimes. Looking forward to writing through this show with your content and point of view. By the way, I've read 5 Plus Times C. First of all, thank you again. It's crazy how many people have read it more than 5 times. It is crazy. It really is. So you are, Travis, you are in good company now starting a reread. Don't feel bad about that. It actually is, my opinion, I think the series is better on a reread. I really do. I think you're going to catch more. You'll realize the level of foreshadowing that happened. Without giving away too much, there's quite a few things that are even foreshadowed in the prologue of Eye of the World that are not, you don't even get mentioned again until later books. So crazy amounts. Okay. So I do think it's better on a reread. And I'll tell you, tell me if this is true of you guys. How many of you were spoiled by the Wheel of Time? And here's what I mean by that. You've read other series, like you've read a lot of fantasy, you read a lot of sci-fi, whatever it would be. You read the Wheel of Time, and now you find it hard to read other series. I'm curious how many of you that's true of. So you say yes in the chat if you find it hard now to read other series other than the Wheel of Time. Because it's a weird thing. Like, there's a lot of us that were heavy readers, read the Wheel of Time, and then are like, it's kind of hard to read other things. Like, it's not the same. Right? So I see Andrew Rowland. You just see that you just finished a month ago, and now you can't stop watching content on the Wheel of Time. It's crazy how much there is. Like, I think there's very few book series. I think Dune is an exception that you could do this with. Lord of the Rings to an extent, because there are a lot of books in the universe, right? But there aren't many series where you could make a YouTube channel based around it, because there is so much depth to this series. There's so much of it. Scott, thank you, man. Looking forward to your reread and love your channel and Discord. I appreciate it. Thank you. Which you bring up a great point. Guys, if you are not in my Discord server, join it. It's easy. We talk Wheel of Time. If you like doing this, we talk about this stuff all the time. We get in voice chat. We obviously we have different book by book discussion groups. We have the YouTube Comment Hall of Fame, which everybody needs to join. To see the ridiculous YouTube comments that you get when you become a creator. And we get to laugh and publicly shame people that are racists and stuff. Which, by the way, if any of you leave ridiculous comments on my YouTube channel, expect to get publicly shamed in the YouTube Comment Hall of Fame. But we've also got we got a lot of stuff. So if you've not joined the Discord, the link is in the description of the video. Just click it. It's awesome. Discord's great. A lot of us are great friends now because of Discord. So definitely make sure you're a part of that. Dune is way less cohesive, which I would agree with. There's just a lot of lore in Dune. That's what I mean. Like you could make a YouTube. In fact, I think there are YouTube channels based around Dune out there. So, and Brandon Sanderson, I think, is also really, really good. I don't. If I had to choose, like I love Brandon Sanderson. He's probably my second favorite fantasy author. I prefer Jordan. I prefer RJ's writing style a little bit more. I feel, here's the way I've always described Brandon Sanderson in my own head, at least. I feel like he writes in a very cinematic fashion. Like I feel like he has a lot of, and this is actually a part of his style, by the way, but he writes with a lot of build up to big moments. But that's also because Brandon Sanderson is a very different styled writer than Robert Jordan, and very different styled than, for instance, George R. R. Martin, right? Like those are two ends of the spectrum right there. Brandon Sanderson is a plotter. Brandon Sanderson maps out his books front to back about all the things that are going to happen in his book. And then when he sits down to write, he busts it out, right? Like he just writes them, or I guess it's typing now. But he writes his stuff because he's got it all planned beginning to end, right? He doesn't just let his characters go. He has a very direct arc, and you can kind of feel that in his style. Now, George R. R. Martin, on the other end of that, is he basically, what he does, and he's described, and people hate this because he can't finish books now, but his style is such that what he does is he creates characters, and then he creates personalities and actions for these characters, gets a story in motion, and then tries to explore what each character would do. So, like, he lets them kind of become their own thing, and that generates the story. Now, there's a lot of value to that writing style. None of these is wrong. Obviously, George R. R. Martin, if you take out the fact that he can't finish the latest book, is one of the more popular authors out there. I mean, again, you can hate on Game of Thrones all you want, Song of Ice and Fire all you want. It's super popular. But what's happened is RJ, Robert Jordan, is he fits right in the middle of those two. Robert Jordan did kind of the same thing. Like you can see where he lets characters kind of get away from themselves, right? Like his story kind of drifted off, but he always had big moments planned that pulled those threads back together. Okay. So I think Robert Jordan is the style that I most like because I feel like the characters are written in a way that's very authentic and very real, but yet at the same time, he was able to pull the threads of the story back together without letting them scatter to the wind, sort of like George R. R. Martin did, if that makes sense. So there's my little spiel on author style between those three. Julio Batista, thank you, man. Thank you so much for the donation. I love what you do. How well do you think the Wheel of Time series will do compared to Game of Thrones? I feel like the Wheel of Time books get repetitive, but I still love it. P.S. What's your take on Pat Rothfuss? Would love to see a Name of the Wind show. So I've never actually seen it. So I don't know. I can't comment on the last part. What I will say about the TV show compared to Game of Thrones. It's hard to anticipate because I don't think I was a part of the community that was excited when HBO announced, they were making Game of Thrones. Literally nobody, even HBO or George R.R. Martin or anybody, had any idea that Game of Thrones would become as big as it did. I mean, guys, you can hate on the last 2 or 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, but like seasons 1 through 5 are some of the best television ever made. They are. Okay. It's gonna they're among the best television ever made. And that's hard to debate, honestly. They're really, really, really good. Really well adapted, really well written, incredibly well acted. So that show took off, and it took off in a way that it became very, very mainstream. Do I think that Wheel of Time will get the same level of hype, quote unquote, that Game of Thrones did after it got popular? No, I don't. I don't think it will, but I think it can remain very, very popular. I think the story is better. Don't get me wrong. I think the story is better, but it's sort of like, okay, I'll use a really dumb analogy here. Okay. I'm a sports guy. LeBron James is often compared to Michael Jordan, but a lot of people will still not pay as much attention to LeBron James as they did Michael Jordan. Like, and you see that with the Michael Jordan special that came out, right? So it's the same idea. It's like once something happens once, it's really hard to make something that's almost like it again. So it won't be the same. Like, I just want to say that. And it's on Amazon. Amazon shows get big. They're popular. They are. But Amazon is not as mainstream as HBO is. Now, what's weird is more people have Amazon Prime. They just don't use the television part of it. So, again, I think I saw the word, and somebody said this, it's groundbreaking. Game of Thrones was, and I agree. It was groundbreaking. Wheel of Time is not going to be groundbreaking, but it will still be very good, and I think it can command a very large audience if they do it properly and they do it justice, because at the end of the day, the story is better, okay? The story is just better than Game of Thrones, in my opinion. It's more cohesive. The characters have more depth to them. If it's well acted and people like it, I think the story is going to shine through. So that's my roundabout answer of saying I think that it's going to go well. I really do think that. I just don't know if it's going to be the hype train like Game of Thrones was. I don't know if the local radio stations like they do here that would do sports talk radio would do segments on Game of Thrones. I don't know that we're going to see segments on the Wheel of Time. I don't know if it'll gain that level of pop culture, but it might. Like anything popular can and will do that. But it has to be unique to a degree where, and it has to be gritty. Like, I don't mean that it needs to be fake gritty to like try to be Game of Thrones. I'm back apparently. For a minute there, I didn't even know I left. So hopefully not a lot of you were staring at me. But any case, I'm glad I'm back. We're probably going to end the stream here soon. But yeah, I don't even know where I stopped now. So guys, we are probably going to end the stream here anyway, because it's kind of that time. We've been running about an hour. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hop on thegrapelight.com, get signed up there, follow the Discord, support the channel with any of our support links, Audible, get a free audiobook. Definitely pick up a VPN. That would be awesome. It also helps support the channel. Obviously, Patreon is like the best way. So, any case, guys, I'm going to end the stream here, and we'll just call it that. You all have a great night. Thanks for joining, and we will talk later. Bye-bye.